I think that there are a lot of guys out there who just do not have like a proper social circle around them that is just there for them. And then when people talk about male privilege and so on, these people look at it and they're like, well, my life sucks. I'm lonely. I'm miserable. I'm struggling. Women constantly get special treatment. I uploaded my YouTube video when female VTubers pretend to care about men. I reacted to this video basically when it was released. Until I uploaded the YouTube video, I didn't know the person I was reacting to was doing like a follow-up. I posted it because I thought that I'd talk about like some stuff that was on my mind. I tried to explain how I interpreted the tweets in a way to put them on a thumbnail. Men deserve to be loved and treated right. Men deserve love. Makes sense, you know. Good tweet. Today, feminism is toxic. It is feminism is toxic. Unfortunately, it's overshadowed. Pride is important and all, but so is men's mental health. It could have been like men's mental health is overshadowed. That would have been a little bit more accurate. And actually, in the video, I made a mistake. I confused the US's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which is in June, with UK's Men's Mental Health Month, which is in November. And US also has Men's Health Month, which also includes mental health, and it is in November. So I actually made a mistake in here. And I kind of jumped to conclusions that were not accurate. Although people do need to realize that Pride, even if it wasn't officially celebrated until 1999, I think, it was still being celebrated since 1970s, June 1970s. Why not celebrate both? Pride benefits men's mental health. And men's mental health also benefits pride. And I want to talk about that a little bit more. I think when it comes to topics like that, I gotta work a little bit on like how I communicate these things. Because, of course, I used this as like a jump start to spark the conversation, but it basically got hijacked because it was being made personal. I still strongly believe that just telling men that they deserve love and not elaborating on why they are even like struggling with these things, while also turning around and being like, oh, feminism is bad, is a problem. The reason why I say that pride benefits men's mental health is because a lot of the issues that men struggle with and women struggle with boils down to misogyny. And I feel like, especially as a trans woman, I do have kind of like a unique perspective and opportunity to like talk about the things. I actually got a tweet, by the way. Kitsu blocked me and then she posted a clown like right when I posted the tweet, and then I screen capped it and was like blocking me and still replying to my tweets is crazy, and she did it again. Anyway, I got a comment. Dude, you changed your gender from man to woman to get that nice special treatment women have because you hated how men are treated in modern society due to feminism. I think there's a really big issue when it comes to people just not understanding what feminism is about. And the way, especially a lot of people on the left, try to communicate these things. I realized that a lot of people who are like on the center, like to the right leaning, are basically hearing the word patriarchy or misogyny or male privilege and so on, and they just get defensive because it's like, well, but my life sucks. What do you mean? When I go outside, I don't just get like jobs and money handed to me just because I'm a man. And it's like, yeah, that's not how it works. Male privilege means that your sex, your gender, is not an obstacle that you need to overcome in society. Like when you are a cis straight white man, you're basically the status quo, especially if you have a lot of money. You're not going to get denied a job position, and you wonder if it's because, I don't know, your name sounded white. I guess there are a lot of people who want you to believe that and push this idea because there's a lot of victim complex going on. Oh, this was it. You traitorous little creep. Did you suddenly forget what it was like to grow up male? Did you forget the emotional abuse that was put through from birth for the purpose of killing our souls as quickly as possible? I sure as hell didn't. Being a trans woman doesn't mean you have to turn your back on men. I was like a little bit taken back, but I've been thinking about this. You're right. Even if you have male privilege, even if you're a cis straight white man, being a man kind of sucks. The problem is that people blame feminism for it. People feel like it's feminism that puts them down. The thing is, like, a bigger issue is that a lot of men don't necessarily understand that what they are dealing with is because of misogyny. So as a trans woman who was born male, was raised as a male, grew up male, socialized as a male, I can tell you I never really had male privilege. I was always being bullied for being too feminine. I got bullied for sounding like a girl, acting like a girl. I've been told to man up. I've been told to just stop crying because boys don't cry. I was struggling to connect with other boys, and I struggled to connect with the girls because I wasn't a girl befriending girls. I was a man, a boy trying to befriend girls. And that is a different dynamic. Relationships are being treated differently. Like just casual friendships. If a boy likes a girl and they hang out together, the parents are around them and they're like, oh, is that your girlfriend? Oh my god, we got such a lady killer. Our 8-year-old son is such a cool boy. He's so popular with the girls. It's gross. Forcing sexuality onto children. You know, these people accuse gay people of doing that, but they are actually the ones who are doing that. Like, constantly, and it's so normalized and it's gross. I feel like a lot of issues that we have is because our experiences when it comes to misogyny are just so different, but we all experience the effects of it. So what I basically want to talk about, especially as a trans woman who understands what it's like to grow up as a boy and desperately tries to not just be a man, but in order to escape the abuse, to act as masculine as possible, and it still wasn't enough. I shaved my hair because I got bullied for having like just medium length hair. It needed to be cut short because men don't have that. My environment taught me how to be a man in the most toxic and insufferable way possible. I always thought that it's like really bad because I'm trans, like because I'm a woman, you know? Like my gender identity aligns with that of other women. So like forcing me to play this role was causing a lot of distress and it made me numb. But I'm starting to believe that a lot of cis men also struggle with being shoved into the box of this society. And yeah, big word, patriarchal society. Feminism tries to get rid and break these gender norms, gender roles, gender expectations. That is what it's about. It is not about hating men and just resenting men. You know, there are some like radical feminists who are also, you know, extremely transphobic, racist and so on. That is not what feminism is about. The core values and the core principles of feminism haven't changed. A lot of people are just like really struggling with society and so on. And it must suck to just be neglected because society pushes the idea that women need to be protected, girls need to be protected because they're all little girls, all children. They need to be protected and coddled. And the men need to be sent to war and they just need to pull themselves up on the bootstraps and just, I don't know, provide for a family. Just being constantly taught that like, oh, boys will be boys, let the boys do whatever they want. Just stop caring about them, not actually give them like proper role models that teach them how to be themselves and embrace being a man in society. And by being a man, we're not talking about like toxic masculinity. And by toxic masculinity, I don't mean that like every masculinity is toxic and you need to like feminize yourself or something. But there are so many people who just shove themselves into like one extreme box where they're constantly angry. I don't have any feelings because I shoved them down, and I can't even cry because testosterone doesn't allow me to. and society shames me for, I don't know, opening up. So I just need to like be angry and punch holes in the wall. That is bad. That is toxic masculinity. So for me personally, I understand that it means a lot when someone, especially a woman, especially your favorite anime waifu, is telling you men deserve love as well. Men deserve to be treated right as well. The problem is just like feeling entitled to it. Feeling entitled to the attention of women. Just being so disconnected with other human beings. You just go on Tinder, you just like swipe, I don't know, left the entire time. You just want to match with everyone just to have like a one-night stand or something, and then be like, oh, I'm such a player, I matched with 200 girls in the last month, and you didn't have a single actual proper human connection with any of them. I also strongly believe that there's a huge difference between being a guy and having guy friends and being a girl and having girlfriends. I can tell you the switch of like my dynamic that I have with my friends once I came out as trans and I, you know, started befriending more women is insane. We had a group, but I was never really a part of it. Of course, obviously, because I'm trans and I felt like really out of place. Not saying that if you feel out of place, you're trans or something. That's just, you know, the reason for me being like disconnected with guy friends is just a little bit different. But also, now I have genuine friendships, you know? I have people checking in with me. I have people that I can count on, you know? If I need them, they are there for me. I didn't have that. I was the friend who was being called when somebody had like a breakup and just needed to like, I don't know, drive around at 4 a.m. and just let out the emotions on like a road trip. I was there. Nobody did that for me back then. And it felt kind of shitty. I felt kind of used for that. And I think that there are a lot of guys out there who just do not have like a proper social circle around them that is just there for them. And then when people talk about male privilege and so on, these people look at it and they're like, well, my life sucks. I'm lonely. I'm miserable. I'm struggling. Women constantly get special treatment. When I was in school, the girls were being able to like participate in specific programs for like physics and chemistry and stuff like that. I wanted to do that. Nobody cared about me. Everybody only cared about the girls and like pushing the girls because boys naturally are interested in these things and they don't need to have like a helping hand. And that feels I get it. For me, all this time, it was like, well, I just want to be one of the girls. Heard about similar issues for trans men. Once they come out, a lot of trans men I've spoken with said that people stopped checking in on them emotionally. I think this conversation would be so much better if I had it with a trans man, because it's just like a unique switch. We're just like in a unique position to like talk about these things. I feel like I should have done that to begin with. I feel like I should have, instead of making this reaction to it, I should have just like talked about it and not made it a jab at someone that I had issues with previously because gender-affirming care for trans kids and stuff like that. My personal experience with trans friends is like, oh, it's so nice to finally be a woman. And oh, that's why male suicide rates are so high. It's kind of nuts. The problem is like the algorithm doesn't really push content that gives like an alternative view to all these things. If I turn this into a video, it might get, I don't know, 3,000 views or something. Meanwhile, content from the manosphere is being pushed to hundreds of thousands who are now starting to like resent feminism because they are taught that feminism is just about putting them down. It's just shifting the anger at a different group, which is also suffering under the same issues that plague you, the conservative values and so on. It's just like upholding a rigid society where gender roles, gender norms and so on is just like predetermined by your sex characteristics, and if you fall out of that, you're going to get bullied, you're going to get punished for it by your environment. Men and women boys and girls are just experiencing these issues differently. As a guy, you're being neglected. Nobody seems to care about you. Everybody expects you to not have any emotions and to just be angry, because apparently that's the only emotion that's allowed if you're a guy. You're not allowed to express your gender identity differently. You can't even paint your nails without people making fun of you. You can't even do stuff that you enjoy. Everything feels kind of boring. You know, I always like was so jealous of when it comes to like the wardrobe that women had, you know, different hair colors, shampoo smells and stuff like that. There was just more exploration and experimentation going on, and that made me like very envious. But I'm a trans woman, so obviously that's the case. To be fair, feminism is kind of harmful when people take it too far, and if men speak up about it, they're portrayed as a villain. I know that some people, especially the ones who are nowadays considering themselves as radical feminism, and it's just about like resenting men. When you've been hurt by the system so much, you just let it out on men. The problem is like, that is what the quote-unquote incels do to women. They are being hurt by the system, and they just like start hating on women. They feel entitled to the time and body of women. Like, oh my god, I went out there and I was like talking to a girl and I was like so nice to her and I complimented her and she didn't even want to give me a number.
This dumb bitch.
This dumb bitch. Literally. And for women, you know, obviously, if you're a young girl and from early on, you're being taught how to behave, that you have to be quiet and, you know, subservient and, you know, you gotta like listen to the father figure, and you need to learn how to cook so you can be like a good wife. And then you're also getting like sexualized by random men. Like it's scary, it's terrifying. That's just, you know, a problem that we have in society, and everything kind of boils down to misogyny. Wanting to put men down is not helping anyone, it just creates more hate. Exactly. The goal of feminism is basically to not have your sex, your gender, be an obstacle when it comes to us, you know, succeeding in society. To have everyone be equal in that sense. The thing is also like, you know, if you're a woman, you can have like a PhD in something, and if it's like a male dominated field, like, I don't know, engineering or something, and you're like, you know, project manager, you sometimes need a man to repeat exactly what you're saying so other men believe you. That is a problem in society that is going on. And because it's just like so difficult to talk about these issues without people being like, well, what about me? I don't get every single job. I don't have people just believe anything I say just because I'm a man. It's just kind of different. You know, it's like playing a video game. I use this metaphor a lot of times because like when I was playing video games and I got like, you know, shamed for my voice and I started to force my voice deeper, the, oh, you're gay, you sound fruity, that stopped from happening. Now that I started transitioning and I started doing voice training, it's happening again. Constantly. Are you a boy or a girl? Do you have a dick? Are you a femboy? Like the sexualization of anything that is considered feminine is just crazy. And then it's like, well, everybody gets hate. That's just male humor. It's like, that's a problem that is male humor, not gonna lie. You can be acing 3 rounds in a row and people, if you sound like a girl, if you sound like a woman, will still tell you to go back into the kitchen and think that you're boosted. Because a lot of men are very fragile when it comes to women being better than them. Because society teaches them that like, oh, men are superior. The average guy is so much better than the bestest woman out there. These are problems in society going on. This is why femme-sounding people don't use comms in games. And that's something other mass-sounding people need to call each other on. Yeah, exactly. I was playing Valorant the other day on stream, and someone was being asked, do you have a dick? I was just sitting there and being like, why did you ask that question? That is not appropriate. And I had someone in chat be like, well, they weren't talking to you. So whether or not it's offensive is up to that person to decide. And it's like, I think this question is never actually appropriate, especially when it's being brought up like, you know, uncalled for. And also, we are playing a video game. There are 5 people in a lobby. Pretty much all of them are strangers to each other. Why do I have to listen to someone asking if another random person over the internet has a penis? It's wild. And I get that asked a lot too, and I feel like very uncomfortable. And a lot of times, people don't call it out. So I speak up. And I think that more people should do that. I think especially if you're a guy and there's another guy being a dick towards a woman, you gotta just say something, because it's different when a guy holds another guy accountable for these things. When a guy calls a guy out for it. If I do it with my gay fruity ass voice, it's not going to do a lot. And that is just like a thing that you have to put up with, and it creates like a hostile environment for women. When I post like a video of like highlighting these things of what I have to deal with, it's just like, oh, it's just a game. Why are you so sensitive? It's a human talking to another human, and that other person thinks it's okay to talk about these things because they are being enabled by their environment. Nobody holds them accountable. There are no repercussions for them. Maybe they get like a 2-day suspension of their microphone or something. It's not doing much. It's not fixing the issue. I also think that if you're a guy, maybe you don't have the manliest of manliest voices, you know, that I also didn't have growing up. You can experience a lot of these things as well. You can also be targeted by that. And I believe that other guys should speak up, stand up for other men, instead of just being like, well, you know, you're a guy, you can handle it, right? So I don't understand why being a girl is thought of as being bad at things. It's just misogyny. Viewing femininity as inferior, and then also shaming women who are more masculine. Boundaries in online open VC games are something that should be talked about more in the gaming community. Yeah, but like the problem is like having an open dialogue about these things is incredibly awful, because like you're just going to be called like a snowflake and sensitive, especially if you're a guy talking about these things. You know, you don't want to like endure the abuse anymore. No, you're just weak. You should just man up. So I can definitely understand the criticism when it comes to feminism. I can understand when it comes to like the communication of certain things. I understand the criticism when it comes to like this, because, you know, it was basically talking about these things, but not in the right way. More in a hostile way. In like an antagonistic way. And even though I still have issues with just putting a band-aid on a broken arm and being like, well, you deserve love too. Men's mental health matters. And then not actually like talking about the issues going on, or like building an environment for guys to just, I don't know, have like a support system around you. I don't know. It just feels like a little bit like virtue signaling, basically. You're striking a chord, Nyara. I'm a cishet man. And yeah, my voice was considered gayish and got ridiculed for it. Yeah, and then what do? You kind of like shut down. You don't want to deal with it anymore. So you have to pretend. You have to change yourself in order to like escape the abuse. And most of the time, it's not even enough. When I had like my guy voice, I escaped this to some degree, but it was still me having to pretend to be someone I am not. Even if you disregard the fact that I'm, you know, literally just a woman having to pretend like I'm a man, I couldn't express my gender identity how I wanted. And I also think there's like a problem going on with society where it comes to like, well, you know, if you're a man and you don't do stereotypical man stuff, then you're considered gay, and then women don't want you anymore, so you have to like pretend so women want to date you. You shouldn't have to like restrict yourself in these aspects. You shouldn't have to like hide who you are in order to have like an increased dating pool. Like, you're just going to be miserable. The reason why I have the friendships that I have is because I stopped pretending. I have genuine friendships because people like me, not who I pretend to be. And I think that like more people, more men, more young men should be able to express their gender identity without having to fear the backlash from their guy friends or something. I feel like you should be safe to explore who you are And that is what feminism is about. Breaking these gender norms. That's always been the goal. Feminism didn't stop when women were able to vote. There's still misogyny going on in the world, and men experience it constantly. But when we hear misogyny, it's just about like hating women. And it's more about like resenting femininity, rejecting your own aspects that are considered feminine by society, because they are being perceived as inferior and something for you to get bullied for. I think gender blindness is really bad and dangerous thing, ignoring social issues and unfairness for the sake of not looking biased. What do you mean with gender blindness? People would try to claim that men and women live in an equal and fair society and therefore we shouldn't try to improve the system. Oh, basically like, oh, well, women, if they work hard enough, they can get a job. Women can have a career, while also like, you know, turning around and saying that like the best thing that a woman can achieve is to be a mother and a wife. That is like the type of society that we live in. And the problem is like, if you call these things out, and then, you know, a lot of guys are like, what about my struggles? What about me? It just feels like trying to invalidate the struggles of women. So a lot of women get defensive of it, and then it's like, well, it's all men until it's no men, and then there's like, well, what did I do? And then, you know, there's also like a lot of like normalized misogyny that a lot of people cannot detect. A lot of men cannot detect the subtle misogynistic takes they have a lot of times. And then, you know, a woman gets upset at them, and then it's like, well, okay, do we actually have like a conversation about like why you just said something that was misogynistic, or are you just going to like deflect and you say that like I'm overly sensitive? And then we have like continuous problems, and it just doesn't fix anything. I was socialized to quote unquote chase women, and that was romantic to be persistent. Took a while to educate myself and break that view. Toxic masculinity can teach you wrong and make it seem like the world is against you. Yeah, exactly. It's like you're being taught that in order to get the girl, you have to be like the bully and like pull on the hair. You're getting attention, right? That's just how you show love. And it's also because you're not being like socialized properly. You're not being like taught how to behave properly. And like you most of the time like mimic your environment, or I don't know, shit you see on the movies, which is also like not great, obviously. I think like communication is like a huge issue that we have like in all aspects, because like you have a very specific experience when it comes to like bigotry. The propaganda is also like really big. You're getting like forced a specific narrative through like the stuff that you consume on social media, and like your environment teaches you, and not a lot of people are open-minded enough to actually try to learn about a different viewpoint and try to like empathize with these things. I don't know, maybe I can help with that a little bit, especially as a trans woman who did the gender switch, who does understand a little bit how society treated me differently once I came out. You know, not even when I started passing as a woman, but just, you know, me painting my nails and dressing a little bit more unisex, androgynous, femininely, or something like that. Like, I got compliments from women, and it felt nice. It is something that I never experienced in like 22 years of living as a guy. But yeah, men do struggle with misogyny as well. That is just what I wanted to say. Men's mental health matters. Pride, you know, in that sense, also helps men's mental health, because if you are able to talk about your feelings without being labeled gay, because gay is no longer an insult or something, you know, to invalidate your manhood, then you can actually be comfortable talking to your guy friends about feelings.
Everybody hates that